first speaker is Pierre Meulien, Executive Director of Innovative Medicines Initiative. I would like, if you allow me a few minutes, to introduce you. Dr. Meulien joined IMI in September 2015, and he is responsible for the overall management of IMI, which is working to improve and accelerate the entire medicines development process. Between 2002 and 2007, Dr. Meulien served as a founding CEO of the Dublin Molecular Medicine Centre, now Molecular Medicine Ireland, which linked medical schools and teaching hospitals in Dublin to build a critical mass in molecular medicine and translational research. From 2007 to 2010, he was Chief Scientific Officer for Genome British Columbia, serving as its president from 2010 to 2015, where he raised significant funds for the organization and oversaw the launch of novel projects and network in the field of genomics-based technologies. So, warm welcome, Pierre, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Eva, and thank you to Gladys and all the organizers for putting on this meeting, which I think the timing of this meeting is very appropriate as we transition into a new and exciting program. And my job is to take a little look back at what's been achieved through the Innovative Medicines Initiative, IMI, specifically on the neurodegeneration, including most of it on the Alzheimer issues. So if I could have the next slide. So everything we do and we have done in IMI has been based on our abilities to build large-scale projects, large-scale consortia, and the key has really been to involve everyone, all the stakeholders, right from the beginning. And we experimented a lot, of course, at the beginning, but I think the value of having everyone at the table, including, of course, the patients, the payers, the regulators, as well as all of the scientists, clinicians, and industry people who are all necessary for some of these big challenges. And Alzheimer's disease is a huge challenge to try and solve these things. And Alzheimer's disease, I have to say, is a perfect example of a sweet spot for a public-private collaboration, because nobody can solve this issue on their own. The pharmaceutical industry has spent many billions of euro, unfortunately, failing. Now we know that there are some a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but this is for me just the beginning of something, and I think it has illustrated over the years that we can find new pathways to innovation, new paths of clinical assessments in these very difficult and challenging areas to find solutions. So the next one, please, Gladys. We have also been very lucky to, right from the beginning, to have a lot of involvement from the patient community. And I would say especially from those in the mental health area, where their collaboration has been absolutely key in helping us drive the research agenda. So in general, across all of the areas, about 20% of active IMI projects across all disease areas have patient organizations represented in the consortium as full partners. 50% of IMI projects give a very strong voice to patients in different ways, and 30% have patient organization represented on advisory boards or have consulted with them. And as you can see, Alzheimer Europe has been a special partner for us and is involved in all of our Alzheimer's disease projects, and help us communicate as well on these very key areas. So I thank them for their great contribution. The next one, please. So patient engagement, of course, and involvement remains a key piece and will remain a key piece going forward in IHI. But we have, this is a journey, and although, you know, we like to think that we're at the cutting edge of patient involvement in what we do, we're only, once again, beginning on a long journey. There's so much more that we could be doing and that we should do, and I'm sure we'll have the opportunities to talk about that in the context of IHI. But we always have a member of the scientific committee of IMI, includes a patient representative. Currently, this is Klaas Roll from Austria, and he has just been fantastic and very, very engaged with the program, challenging us and in a of course a constructive way, but really good, and we enjoy this challenge that we have. We have also, over the last couple of years, created a new entity, which is an IMI pool of patient experts, and there are 150 of these. They actually, it's not only to do with patients, but also family members of patients and informal carers. And in that group, we have significant people from who have dementia, or people working, for example, in the European Working Group with people with dementia. And this pool of patient experts, we treat as experts, as the same way we do with experts coming from the clinical or research side. This patient pool are experts that help us at every stage of our processes, whether it's to do with project topic definition, or evaluation of projects, or helping us with the closeout meetings, and helping us with the communication of the results of course. So a great group of people, and we'll be, as I say, building on this going forward into IHI. The next one, please. So you can see that brain research is a very significant part of our portfolio. I think we have ongoing about 20 odd projects in brain research. 300, and you can see the number there. I think it's now more than about 350 million euro, so about 10% or a little more of our portfolio. And as I say, brain research is a particularly good topic for a public-private partnership, where there's so much to do in terms of understanding the biology of the brain, and all of the initial very complex initial stages of clinical research for brain disorders. This lends itself to people collaborating, whether they're coming from competing pharmaceutical or other diagnostic companies who normally compete very strongly in these areas, but for these kind of topics are very willing to share a lot and collaborate, which is the key for IMI. Next slide, please. So in IMI, we have this quite large portfolio in neurodegeneration, and it really, we look at it in a programmatic and strategic approach, right from the research piece, where we're discovering new targets and validating those, right through to understanding what evidence one needs, whether you're a health economist or a policymaker, to understand how patient access and payer relevant data can help policymakers and payers understand the very complex ecosystem and how to go about their business. So We're not policymakers ourselves, but our projects generate data that we hope are valid enough and evidence-based enough that policymakers and payers can use to make their very challenging decisions. Next one, please. So we have a number, and I know that Carlos, who's going to follow me, will talk about the networking of these projects. It's something Carlos knows I'm very, very fond of talking about how these projects can interact. We need to do much more of that, and he'll be talking a little bit about that. But it does span a very broad portfolio. But the connectivity, and this is the point on this slide, with other initiatives, I think is absolutely key. So we collaborate with the Global CEO Initiative, the Dementia's Platform UK, the Human Brain Project, this new Alzheimer's Disease Data Initiative. And this connectivity we can do a lot more of. And it's so important for us not to reinvent the wheel, not to be redundant with other things, and hopefully spend money wisely and efficiently. Next one, please. So I'm going to give you a few examples of the impacts of some of the IMI projects that are ongoing or have been recently terminated. And these regroup into different pieces that follow a little bit the strategic mapping I showed you before. So this first one is around translating scientific findings. So very much at the front end of research, discovering whether these are new genes, whether they're new. That obviously a lot of in this case, immune receptor genes from some of these projects that have been have certainly an impact on AD progression. And we know that the immunology and inflammation pathways, they play a big role in the disease itself. And this gets translated into these findings get translated into new tools and assays that can help both in the clinical setting and in the diagnostic setting. This goes, once again, we have this Equipped project, which is developing ways to improve the quality of that evidence and the quality of these, the evidence generation in brain diseases is a key piece for success. Next slide, please. So this one is looking at the categorizing dementia into different subtypes. So dementia is not one disease, it's several diseases. And although the cognitive impairment that you see as a symptom may be the same in some individuals, the underlying biology and the route to how they got there can be quite different. And this is very important to understand how that works, how the biology works, so that we can intervene in the appropriate way. And as you can see, this gets into the realm of personalized medicine, personalized treatments, where we approach it, we acknowledge that by definition these people are quite different in how they've come to get the disease. Next slide, please. And this one is around the reducing the high failure rate. This, of course, dementia has been notorious for the attrition of molecules, sometimes very late in development, which means a huge cost to everyone involved. And many of our projects, you can see them here, EMIF and PRISM, Radar, they look at using new technologies to either track changes in cognitive and functional abilities or measuring endpoints, and all of that gets put into this clinical research platform that we've called EPAD, which really focuses on trying to go in earlier on in disease onset. And of course, the patient plays a key role in there, because the earlier you go, the more risk you have of experimenting with new approaches, new pharmacological approaches. And who's going to take that risk? Well, it's not only the regulator and the clinician in charge of the study, but really is a triangular discussion between the regulators, the clinicians, and the patient. Very, very important. And I'll go on to in the interest of time, I will go on to the next slide. All of these projects, to some degree, have created fantastic pieces of infrastructure or data sets that can be used by anyone. And on the IMI website, we have a whole list of tools that are available for anybody who wants to use them. And so you can look at those. And I know that Carlos will be talking a little bit more about some of those sustainability approaches in the IMI project portfolio. Next slide, please. So as was alluded to before, you know, there has been recently a Biogen product, aducanumab, from approved for use by, it's a conditional, I think, approval for the moment by FDA. A little bit of controversy around that, but I think it's key that this is a successful new pathway being exploited to try and get something that can be used and that can potentially benefit patients. And it paves the way for other things to happen down similar or associated pathways. And this is going to be a key for success in the future. So, and last slide, please. Going forward then, I think we have this challenge of trying to come in early on in disease onset. We know that it's incredibly difficult to demonstrate any clinical benefit once the dementia has started into and given rise to significant brain atrophy. We have to find a way of getting in and intervening and intercepting the disease early, and eventually, of course, going towards prevention. And to do that, we need the whole more holistic approach, looking at, and I think Eva alluded to this at the beginning, prevention, early detection, treatment, and care in a holistic manner. And I think we're all very excited that the Innovative Health Initiative, because of the new partnerships that will be described later on in the session, this will be key going forward. So I think the last slide is a going forward slide in terms of we need a new suite of enabling technologies coming from many different sources, and these should be built in a pre-competitive manner so that they can be available to everyone developing new interventions, new innovations in general in the health arena for Alzheimer's. These need to be, of course, pan-European, and it's very important to build those at scale so that we avoid duplication and redundancy. And these large-scale projects, we can see from our experience with IMI, really do act as magnets for collaboration. So people coming knocking at the door when you have built a very large consortia. People come knocking because they want to be part of it, they want to contribute to it, and it's a real win-win. And it's a win-win because risk from both the public and the private sectors is managed and shared. So the public funding that's put into this needs to be managed very carefully, needs to be efficiently used. And of course, from the private sector, they can collaborate in this neutral platform mode where they're sharing their risk as well with others, but allowing everybody to benefit from their involvement and their data that they create within their companies. So that's it from me. Sorry if I've gone on a few minutes over, but please visit our website. We had recently an impact series on dementia, neurodegeneration, and we had a lot of very positive feedback. So you can read some of you can look at the presentations that were made at that meeting. And thank you very much for your attention, and happy to take part in the discussion later on. Thank you, Eva, very much.